House of Strombo is not the name of a new Italian restaurant. It's the new project from my buddy, Canada's boyfriend, George Stroumboulopoulos, who's joining us today. George! Hey, how are you?
George gets good lighting.
I can't believe the first lady.
There we go. All right, come on over. Come on over. Nick's got the mic for you.
Thanks, buddy. Here you go. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right, so here we are with George. Woo! George, good to see you.
Good to see you, pal. How's things?
Good. Now, you're looking a little different than the last time I saw you.
I have a beard.
Yeah, I know. Now, was that a choice, or were you marooned?
No, I would always try to grow a beard in the summer when we were working together, but the people we worked with at television never really wanted me to have a beard because they didn't think cats with beards were on TV. So when I was at hockey night, I was like, screw it, I'm just going to grow a beard. And that was it.
Because, you know, it looks nice and trimmed and groomed, because otherwise I was going to get you like a basketball named Wilson for Christmas.
Listen, last year, I guess I just didn't pay attention to it, and I saw some photos after the fact, and I might as well have been a castaway. It was so
you looked
out of
a little
control.
bit like Andre the Giant as Sasquatch.
I really, and
$6 million man.
And I kind of felt that way too, but you know what? You just got to be the real you, as you know.
No, but it was a big relief not having to deal with that every day, wasn't it?
Yes, it really was. I mean, I love not shaving. It's my favorite part. I just let it grow, and that's it.
We're not going to talk about whether that extends elsewhere. George,
I'm a Mediterranean man.
Now, are you still? You know what that means. Now, are you still healthy? You feeling good? You
Yeah,
look good?
I mean, I think so.
Are you still drinking that green goop?
You know, I actually am a little bit, but not as much as I used to.
George used to drink this stuff. It was this green goop. I swear to God, if you let it sit on your desk for 5 minutes, it set like cement.
It was horrible. It was
and
the smoothies.
Every day, a smoothie. What was in that stuff?
I don't know, but
AstroTurf?
We were so busy at work. It's true. We were so. It was a bit like your hair. We were so busy at work, and I never had time to eat. So I started drinking this. But about 4 months into it, I lost the will to live. It just I couldn't do it. I went back to eating real food.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now you're still a vegan?
Still a vegan, but I ate the actual food, not all of it, emulsified.
So you don't always eat everything through a straw anymore.
Exactly, right. I figured one day that'll happen to me if my jaws are wired shut. Why bring that on myself? So I just started to chew.
That's right. Why advance Father Time?
That's right.
That's right. It's going to hit us eventually. Just want to say, just briefly mention, I think that you were great at Hockey Night in Canada, and you were the scapegoat for a system that didn't know what the hell it wanted to do.
Wow, you're very kind to say that.
So,
there's a lot to it that one day we'll talk about.
Yeah.
But I had a great time on that show. I really did. And,
they tried to do something different. You tried to do something different, and there was a bunch of people. You know, it was a new network basically, and they didn't know exactly what they wanted to do. And you wore it, and I thought you wore it with dignity and with class.
Well, thank you. Here's the thing, and you know this. You're like me in this sense. I know who I am. I know what I've done on television and on radio for a long time, and what I'll never do is pretend to be something I'm not. I'll just never do that. So I don't really care if every project I work on even works. I want everything to work, but I don't care if it does because that's not how this business goes. I look at artists like David Bowie and think, well, half their albums weren't that great. Half were. So if I can hit at that clip, I'm no David Bowie. But I don't need to. I don't need everything to work out perfectly because it doesn't. You don't have control over all that stuff.
Well,
you know,
the whole internet is going, which one sucked?
What?
The whole internet is going, which Bowie albums were good?
Oh, well, it's like
I talked to Bowie about it, and even Bowie admitted to me back when we worked together on Much Music.
Not many people
that
can
happened.
say, I talked to Bowie about the albums he didn't like.
Yeah.
George just drops that in there,
Yeah, no big deal.
Now, you talk to a lot of first of all, music's your first love, right?
It is, but first of all, how great is it to be with you on camera again? And if I even look at the monitor and just see us, and like this is.
This is the magic, man.
We still do the things that make us feel vital, but a lot of the stuff that you and I were lucky enough to be a part of with that crew back at Much Music, we were part of the end of, I think, that greatest moment in Canadian television, because people from the outside don't really understand how incredible the inside of Much Music was, and what we were able to be a part of, and how lucky we were. So it's awesome watching you do your show. I love it and what you're creating here, but just to be back on TV with you, that's dope.
Well, thank you very much, George. Now let's talk about what you're creating.
Yeah.
House of Strombo, which I'm impressed because you got a real team behind you. You guys, you do great publicity in advance. I see the great black and white pictures.
Yep.
I see the video. Tell me about what House of Strombo is.
So I was walking down the street past Queen and John. I live around the corner. And my entire TV career, by the way, has been on John Street. Right? If you think about it, between Much Music, CBC, and Hockey Night, it's all been on John Street. So one day I'm walking past Queen and John. I was still working at hockey at the time. And I saw that they had boarded up those windows. You know, they covered them up for another show. And I get the business change thing, move on. But I looked at it and I thought, man, I wonder if everybody in there really understands how important Much was. And I remember traveling across the country, you did, and we would meet kids coast to coast to coast and see the impact Much music had. We were talking about, our network was pro-gay, pro-trans, pro-woman, way before anybody was talking about it in the media. We were interviewing trans artists back in the year 2000, because it was the right thing to do on our shows. You were fighting for these things all the time. Much created a space where we included everybody. So I just walked by and I thought, man, it's a real shame that this doesn't exist anymore, where an audience, like a kid can come in and see their favorite artist, be close to them and interact with them, because that will inspire them to go on and do something else in their life. So I said, screw it, man, I'm going to do it at my house. And I called some friends and said, my lawyer and all that, my partners, and I went like, we're going to do it at my house. And they said, that's crazy. You can't let strangers into your house. And I said, yeah, but we will.
Them.
Yeah. But I'm like, we will. We will let people in, because what's the worst that can happen, right? What's the worst that can happen? Oh, trust me, I know what the worst that can happen is. But I figured, what's the worst that can happen in Toronto?
Dead hooker in the basement. I mean,
well,
I can think of worse.
yes. No.
Dead gay hooker in the
No.
basement.
No. All that, we don't want anybody dead. That's not the plan. But we just know that we trust people, right? And so far we've had no issues at all. It's been a really fun experience letting people in. We have like Elvis Costello and Hetfield from Metallica comes in, and Kate Tempest, and Lights just played a show. Jesse Reyes. We have these really cool artists coming in, and they love the vibe. Like just before I came to see you tonight, we had Jim Cuddy come in and play a bunch of songs today. Angel Olsen came in. Remember Amy Lee from Evanescence?
Oh, yeah.
She came in and played some songs today in our house.
She's
Yeah,
still alive?
yeah, she's amazing.
She
And
got
she
her
came in
I
and played
remember I
today.
did like 2 interviews with
I love her.
The first time I did it, she was like completely dubious. The second time, she was totally into it.
She was into it, yeah.
Yeah.
I still remember the first time, well, one of the times you interviewed Lenny Kravitz, and all of a sudden this chair crashes behind you, and it was Denzel Washington, who couldn't believe what was happening.
Well, because Lenny Kravitz that day had been putting on, he had this cool air to him that he never cracked. This
Did he
cool,
have a big scarf?
disaffected
Yes.
air,
Gigantic
and he was
scarf.
mad because they got him the wrong kind of cookies.
Yeah.
Honest to God,
He wouldn't go on the air. Do you remember?
Yeah.
He wouldn't go on the air.
They got him the wrong kind of
Yeah,
cookies.
so I'm doing the red carpet show. I bring Lenny Kravitz and Denzel out of the car. We do the interview. We walk through all the red carpet stuff. They go in there. They're supposed to start the MMVAs with American Woman, and the reveal would be that the guest who would join them. And suddenly, in the earpiece, we hear, Lenny's not going on. I'm like, what? But I'm not supposed to end the broadcast until Lenny's on stage. So we're just killing time, trying to interview fans. And what do you think? And what do you? And I remember grabbing Cone from Sum 41 and putting him up with Shakira and making those two talk to each other. And then Cone and Shakira, we're just killing time until Lenny got the animal crackers that he wanted.
I know, it was insane.
It was awesome.
Well, he was upstairs in his little green room with Denzel, and I dressed up like him. And I asked him, Lenny, you're a bit, he's a bit of a swordsman. He liked women. I said, do you think women should be sipped like a fine wine or guzzled like a Colt 45?
No.
And he tried to answer, cool, and then you just saw the entire facade crack and break. And he started to laugh, and Denzel Washington leaned on a tray that had glasses on it with water and
fell.
knocked it all on the floor.
And fell hard. It was really funny. You would never ask that question today.
You know what?
You would never, ever ask that question today.
No. But you know what's interesting is who's doing anything like that anymore in Canadian media? Where you can have those moments that are unrehearsed and just it's spontaneous. Like nobody does that. You're doing it.
You're doing it, and I think Nardwar is the only one still doing it.
Yeah,
Like, that's it. The three of us.
Yeah, we're like the survivors.
But you know what? It's that Much music ethos. It was this place where you had to go, and you had to know what you were doing. You had to know who you were. You did. Nardwar did. I do. And I think that's what sort of helped us. We were lucky to grow up in that kind of environment.
Oh, we're very lucky. You know what? I'd like to show a little promo of House of Strombo. Leanna, can we do that?
Oh, this is episode 1.
Hey, I'm George Stroumboulopoulos. For the last 25 years, I've been lucky enough to interview the best bands in the world. Only now, it's time to take that party and bring it home. To my home in downtown Toronto. So, the biggest bands, your future heroes. Fire up the amps and roll up the carpets, and don't tell the neighbors. We are about to throw a massive party, and you're invited.
that shot there. So that bicycle shot. Thank you. We have a team that crushes every episode, and everybody takes this so seriously. That opening shot, I was doing the Stanley Cup playoffs for a hockey night in Canada. The game is about to go into overtime, and I have an artist at my house. Got almost 100 people sitting in my front like entrance.
And you're not there?
Dude, I'm on the air. I'm doing hockey nights. So the game.
Are you crazy? How many people in your house? You're not even there?
Nobody was inside yet. Just
they're just standing outside.
Standing outside. The artists are set up, right?
Yeah.
So I'm waiting, and it's like, okay, I think it was a Pittsburgh game, and the Pens were up, and then I can't remember what series it was, but I think the Caps scored and tied it, and it went to overtime, and I'm like, are you kidding me? And I'm sitting there waiting. And I was excited to do that job too. So the moment that game was done, it was an early overtime victory. Thank you, everybody. Good night. I was undressing as I was walking to the change room.
You're like Superman. You're pulling your shirt open as
Undressed,
you're walking.
boom, right downstairs, put my backpack on, hopped on my bicycle. The crew met me, and we rode the bicycle to my house, and there was a show waiting to
Wait,
start.
how many people were on your bike?
Just me.
Okay.
Just me. They were in the pickup truck filming.
Oh, wait, bicycle or your motorcycle?
I was on my bicycle on that one. I used to ride my bike to work when the weather gets warm because driving around Toronto sucks, so bicycle is the only way. And I rode my bicycle to work, and as soon as it was over, I showed up and we had a midnight show.
Wow. Now, what do your neighbors think about all this?
I think generally they're a bit stunned initially. The ones who live in the building across the street, because I remember the early days of us doing this. They'd wake up and there'd be a gigantic tour bus parked on my street, and then the cult would get out of it. Or I remember when Scott Weiland got out of it and just walked up to me and said, "Hey, can I use your bathroom?" Yeah, you can. And I'm just sitting there sweeping the front. So the neighbors at first were just like, "What's going on?" And now it's like, "Oh, it's Metallica. Must be George's house." The guy who lives on the
not complaining.
No, the guy who lives on the right of me. I invite him to all the parties. He's cool with it. As long as he can keep people from climbing onto the roof of his house, we're good. The dude on the left of me doesn't live there. He just works there. But I figured. Here's what I figured. Where I live, it's all these clubs, and they play mostly terrible music. And that music keeps me up. All the boom, boom, bad versions of records. So I thought it's our return justice is by blasting good music.
You're trying to return justice to the universe a little bit.
Yeah, by letting great music blast.
Now, here, show that picture, Liana.
Which
show
one?
The picture.
The picture of at George's house. There. That.
Oh yeah.
Now this is at your house, George.
That's my living room, dude.
You even know these? You know any of these people?
I know I don't really. I mean, I know the girl over on the right, the blonde girl. She just had a baby. Congratulations to her and her man.
Not related to the photo.
Not related to the photo. I know some of them, but no, I don't know most of them.
You're inviting strangers into your home.
Well, here's the thing.
Very awesome.
Do you check your silverware at the end of the night?
You went. They went, right?
You were there.
Yeah, like at my point exactly.
It looks like that scene from Travelers with the quantum flake in the background.
Now, do you bolt everything down?
No, actually, not really. And I just sort of have come to realize that for the most part, if anything goes missing, it's just stuff. So who cares?
Oh, really? Can I come over?
Yeah, you can, for sure. You'll save me the drama of having to get rid of it down the road. What I think is important is you have to have skin in the game, right? If the commitment to the audience and the commitment to the artist is that my house represents your house in the way that the red chair used to represent your couch at home. That's why I didn't want to do junket interviews. So the people who are watching at home, I want them to feel like it's their home as well. So when the artists come in, and they all say the same thing. They wander around, they go, "Oh, it's a cool place, whatever's going on." The crew looks around and says, "Oh my God, we're going to fit a whole rig in here." And then they do, and then at the end of it, they're like, "Do you really live here?" I went, "Yeah, bro." That's because they go to where's the bathroom? They go upstairs, past where I work.
How many bathrooms do you have? I forget.
I have one upstairs and one in the basement. And so they go upstairs.
So
and
number twos are in the basement.
I would prefer that, but that is not always how it works.
Right.
Next time.
I think the last show we did a couple days before, somebody had gone into the bathroom before I did. And I went in there and was like, "Oh shit, we need a plunger," right? So it happens.
The glamour of television.
That's what it is. But then they look and they see my bedroom and they're like, "That's actually your bedroom." I was like, "Yeah, that's actually my bedroom." And they're like, "Oh, well, it's cool that you have people in your house." They all think I'm crazy, which I'm not. I just believe, as we always have, the Much Music philosophy, when I used to work at the Edge in Toronto before that, the philosophy was the audience and you were the same. Right? It
That's
wasn't.
right.
It was. They were connected.
We're peers.
Right.
Not relating above them.
Right. And when they knocked on that window, every single one of us took that seriously and went out and talked
Yeah, but
to
none
them.
of us
Right?
lived there.
I know.
Right? You know what, George? You know the guest rooms in my house?
Yeah.
I filled them with cement.
Right.
Just so that there's no chance.
Nobody would come over.
I wanted to have a moat, but they couldn't get the zoning for it.
Well, luckily where I live, I have a big gate.
Were interrupted with people needing to use the bathroom.
I&Is, you never got to go to the bathroom. Once you had an I&I, you were stuck.
Yeah.
My place gets so packed, you can't make it to the bathroom. But if you can, Godspeed. If you can, yeah. If you
You
can.
ever get interrupted, like you're doing an interview, or there's like this crescendo, then quiet, and you hear a toilet flush?
That hasn't happened yet.
No?
But you know what did happen? We were having a performance where we had 5 or 6, maybe even 10 up-and-coming Canadian artists playing at my place with Jackson Browne. And Jackson Browne is this incredible songwriter.
Oh,
of course.
yeah, everyone knows Jackson Browne.
He's playing with these kids. He's taking a real interest in their musical attention. So they're all playing together. Then the cops show up. So I think Colton is the one who told me. So he's like, the cops are...
Colton!
Colton's over here.
Hey! I didn't even know you showed up. Colton's here. Hey!
Colton produces the show. He's the senior producer of the House of Strombo.
We all love Colton.
And so I go outside and I see 2 cruisers, and there's these cops there, and they're like, so what's going on? I went, well, Jackson Browne's playing outside. And the cops were, no way.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. So I said, oh, can we come watch? Yeah, man. Yeah. So the police came out. They came in. They walked up the stairs. They watched a bit of Jackson Browne play. And then they walked out. It was perfect. It was
I think you should have police there all the time.
Ding dong.
Question.
Oh, yes. We got a question from... Yes, Gianna. What is it?
Who was it?
Gary.
Gary's asking if someone has ever puked on the floor.
Yes.
Oh.
Who cleaned it up?
Riveting.
Colton.
Whomever. Whoever gets to it first.
Wait, somebody...
Is it?
I think that was actually at a party, though. That wasn't at a house. That was a different thing altogether. Yeah.
Is your house soundproofed?
No, it's not. No, you can hear it from around the corner.
That's awesome.
You can hear it, yeah. And at 5 o'clock in the afternoon when a band played, we had Death from Above play, and it was unbelievably loud.
How do you?
You gotta come by. You gotta come and play it, man.
Yes,
hell yeah.
How would normal people? How would people get to attend it?
It's just following on social media because we post it on social media. That's the place. There's at Strombo pretty much are all the usernames, and there's also the Strombo Show. And I think on Instagram we have House of Strombo. So, and we don't have a regular way of sharing the information, so you kind of got to follow on all of them because we want to make it a little bit of a challenge.
So what happens if people show up and there's not enough room?
That happens, and we try to squeeze them all in, but sometimes people have to stay outside. We've had like 40 people outside sitting on the front lawn. It's nicer. We get some friends of mine from my old neighborhood in Malton have a...
Malton represent!
That's right! Hey! Yeah. Malton Rock City. They have an Argentinian food truck, so they would just serve sandwiches, so people were fine. They were just eating, and Great Lakes Brewery were giving us beer, and they put Strombo logos on it, even though I don't drink. And we would just take care of people as much as we can. Sometimes people would climb the fence to try to get in. As long as people are safe, I'm not particularly protective. I just want people to come have a good time. I want it to feel like those old days.
But you still have that TTC painting or with the frame thing?
Yeah, it's a roll from an old TTC car, an old street car.
Good.
So it just hangs.
If you're not too attached to it, I'll be over.
You won't be able to get that one down.
No, Gianna, yes.
The chat is very talkative today.
Yeah.
So first of all, we have Aaron saying would you do a retro tree toss?
We talked about it. Would we do a tree toss?
I've been thinking about doing something too.
The thing with Colton asked about doing the tree toss, and I said no because honestly, the tree toss is your thing, right?
Well, actually, it was Steve Anthony's.
Yeah, Steve Anthony's thing, but then it became your thing over time.
But without Mike, the janitor,
who rest in
sadly
peace.
passed on, the soul of humanity, the nicest guy. It seemed like it would be odd to.
Yeah.
But I still think people want these traditions. People talk about fromage being a holiday tradition.
Fromage was amazing.
People miss these things. They miss this media that they can connect to because it's odd. Much music was YouTube before YouTube.
Yeah.
And it was people connecting to their media. And now people want to connect to their media, but we don't have anything in Canada where people can do that, except for what you're doing, what I'm doing, and what Nardwar's doing, apparently.
Yeah.
We're trying to spread the gospel and build for the next generation.
Well, what you're doing, especially by being live like this, is it's the collective experience. And I think that's what made Much so cool was that kids didn't just get to watch it, but you knew that other people were watching it as well. I love the on-demand world. It's very convenient. But to be able to share it together is important. That's why when you watch Twitter, things trend are generally shows or games that are happening right then. Yeah. And I think that that's important. And I think you and I were raised on that, this collective experience. But again, it's not just TV, it's community. But you're doing it. We're doing it, and over time, eventually, we should have a crossover episode where we cross over into each other's world.
Awesome.
That would be
We're
cool.
We're gonna plan that out. Colton, make a note.
Is it like
He's reading Instagram right now. He's not even
reading. Here and
What's that,
continues. It's like the DC Universe shows where it starts here and then continues on House of Strombo.
Yeah,
that's right.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
You're like, I can swear, right, on this show?
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Let's call that feud, right? we got to be fuckers about this, man, because everybody else, they use the word like, oh, that person's a disruptor now.
Yeah.
It's like disruptor.
I hate that term.
You used to hate us when we were those people,
No
right?
fucking kidding.
So we're not disruptors. We're shit disturbers and we're motherfuckers. And I think that's really important because if we have a pure social justice heart, we got to pick the right fights. And that's what you did. That's what we do. That's what we all did collectively at Much Music. And I know that media has changed dramatically, but we don't need them.
No, yeah,
we
that's
don't need
the thing.
them anymore.
They do what they do,
Yeah,
and
good
that's
for them.
important for them to do what they do.
Yeah.
But it's like television used to be. You had a Cadillac and a Chevrolet.
Wait, why aren't you
And
doing
we were the Chevrolet.
Why weren't you doing a fromage at Much Music now? Like they do comedy shows all the time.
Because they hate my guts.
Do they really?
Oh, they hate George.
Really?
When they did their retrospective, I think it was the 30th anniversary. Not a single clip of me was in it.
I don't think I was in that either, actually.
Really?
I didn't watch it. I don't watch it, but I think it was a different time. They were at that time. Remember, they were very public about not caring about their past. It was about the future.
Yeah, exactly.
But the
Which
new
they didn't have.
No,
Their lack of
the new management, though. Come on, Ed, maybe a fromage special.
No, they hate me.
Still.
Honest to God, did you get invited to Christopher Ward's book launch?
I may have.
I didn't. Everybody else was invited. They didn't invite
I didn't even know Chris that well, though. I didn't know Chris for that well. I met him a couple of times.
He interviewed me for his book.
Did he
I was
really?
in his book, and I didn't even get freaking invited.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's
That's an oversight. That wasn't on purpose.
Oh, yeah, an oversight. They invited people who swept the floors. They didn't invite me. Oversight. And they didn't put me in the anniversary show. Oversight. They just said, we had so many great things that there just wasn't room. That's a load of bullshit. Most of those great things were me. Okay, yes, Gianna.
True.
So Jason is asking, did you ever work with Mike and Mike's Great Cross Canada adventure?
I never did.
Well, I've done stuff with Mike when he was out east. So Mike used to have a little tiki bar in his garage, so I would do stuff with Mike out east. But I didn't. They were before us, and what ended up happening was they ended up doing Much East and Much West at the time, which became Going Coastal. So Mike was doing the east stuff before they
Well,
hired.
actually, a sad story because one of the Mikes
Yep.
was like working on a loading dock afterwards.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because that's what happens in Canadian media.
Yeah.
It's unlike in the States where they say, hey, in Canada, it's like, very well, good for you. You've had a show. Back of the line to you. And in Canada, I like to say, in Canadian media, they like to bury their treasures.
Yeah, they don't like stars here very much, the media, that's for sure, because they don't want to have to pay you.
Well, yeah, exactly. And the thing is, they don't even ask what you'd like. They just assume you're going to cost more. Also, they can't control you the same way.
But it's really fun when you can get through it, isn't it?
Oh,
when you
those
succeed
were
in place-up.
days, yeah. Now, let me ask you something.
There's still the days. We're still doing it.
We're bringing them back.
Yeah.
Oh, Gianna, again? Yes.
Chat. She's doing her job.
Thank you for that mature
No, but I
interjection.
do actually have a question.
Yes.
Okay.
I lost it now. Oh, Brian is asking what Strombo's favorite album of the year is.
Oh, I don't even know. We're compiling it now. I can't.
Okay, he can't reveal that now.
Yeah, we're putting it together our hundo, which in the beginning of January is the 100 best songs of the year.
And where can they find that?
It'll be on our radio show, which is on CBC on Radio
right.
2. There are a few that are definitely in the running though that I absolutely love, but I don't know what my favorite is quite yet. It's a debate. We're having a debate. Jesse Reyes is one of them.
Radio show.
Jesse Reyes is one of them.
Yeah,
for sure.
Jesse Reyes is one of them.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, and yes, Gianna.
So Christina is asking, would you ever consider making the show
One that travels around to.
Yeah,
different
on the road.
houses?
I think so. We've talked a little bit about it. We
Yeah, you're
wanted
going to go to other people's houses.
Yeah, I mean, I have a place.
Knock, knock.
That's true. That's a good question. I have a place in LA, right? And in LA, we had Tom Morello from Rage and Chuck D from Public Enemy come over. So we're talking about that. And where I was in New York, I had this tiny apartment where my neighbor was not interested in any noise whatsoever. So I wanted to do a House of Strombo whisper series where bands would come in and rap, but we'd have to put the output would be headphones, which would be in a pot. And you just have to mic the pot. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that would be kind of fun. But we, down the road, we have a plan to kind of roll out a much bigger music play, because the one thing that we can say is that our legacy of loving and supporting and sharing music is solid, and we will continue to do that and grow that across the country.
Let me ask you something. You invite all these people into your house. Where is your private place? Where you can feel like it's just yours, nobody else is there. We all need that. Whenever you're in the media, you need a place that is just your place, where the public hasn't been. Where's yours if they're all through your house?
You know what I do now is and I don't know how your brain works. I can't.
Nobody does.
That's true. I can't do a start or like a start or a pause. I need to stop, right? So all I think about is I can work like this the way I do letting people in, because I know sometime around end of May, beginning of June, I'm going to hop on my motorcycle and I'm going to ride to California. And about a day into that trip on the road, that's when my brain goes quiet, and I make sure in the summer that I don't work that much, and then I just ride around the continent on the bike. And that, to me, is a place where I can get quiet. And then I go to LA, and I need that. I started doing that when I was at Much, driving to LA on a bike, and it was the best feeling in the world. And between that and going to Burning Man, those are like the two things I think about mostly that aren't work-related.
All right, so your private place is inside your head.
Pretty much.
All right.
Pretty much. Everything else is noisy.
Yeah, well, see, that's why my place is quiet.
Yeah.
My home, Angri-La. All right. So House of Strombo.
Yeah.
They can find you on social media.
Yeah, we upload them on our YouTube channel. If you follow our YouTube channel, it's the Strombo Show. We put all of our videos there. You see, we have a catalog up there right now that's kind of crazy. It's just crazy to look at it because we're like, oh man, how did we, in a short span of a few years, we put together quite a gathering of artists, and you can watch them all right now. And some of them stay up for a long time.
Strombo Show on YouTube.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right, check that out, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, George Stroumboulopoulos.
Oh man.
Yeah, good to see you, man. All right.